Well, it's been a little while since I've done an Aliexpress wishlist video, and as such, my wishlist has been filling up, and I want to share those watches with you that are on my Aliexpress wishlist today. Hello, you're watching James. My name's James, you're watching me, and I'm talking about watches. And I want to talk about the watches that I have on my Aliexpress wishlist. It's been a little while since I've done one of these videos, and as such, my wishlist has been filling up. I look at Aliexpress regularly, and I often say, oh, that's a nice looking watch. I think I might want to buy that, and I press the little heart, which means it goes onto my wish list. Of course, I don't end up buying all these watches, and of course the watches I'm going to share with you today I have not had any hands-on experience with because they're just on my wish list. But I do want to share them with you today because you may not have seen them and they might interest you. If you do happen to end up wanting to buy one, well, I'm going to leave one of those affiliate links down below. I appreciate if you choose to use them, and if you do, let me know what these watches are like. They're on my wish list for a reason. I am interested in them. Tell me your thoughts about them. But the first watch I want to jump into and show you what is on my wish list is a Sugess SU1908 SB. This is a Moonphase chronograph. I am starting to like watches a little bit like this sort of style. It's probably not going to be sort of an everyday watch in my collection, something that I wear all the time, but it's something that's quite interesting to have in it. And what I do like is that it is priced at 300 Australian dollars. And for 300 Australian dollars, you're getting apparently a true mechanical Moonphase watch, which is pretty impressive. It's got the Seiko SU1908. It has a ticking sub-second hand as well, and I do like seeing movement on the dial, a 30-minute timer, and as I said, apparently a genuine Moonphase. Now this one is a 40mm case, 12mm thick, which is pretty good for this sort of complications, especially from a seagull movement. Sapphire crystal, a see-through case back, and there's a couple of different options. It sort of has a sort of creamy style dial, and that is the one that you are going to be able to get, but you can get on a black strap or a brown strap. And because it is one of these seagull movements, it's giving you a couple of options for the movement. You can have it with or without the swan neck. And without the swan neck is a little bit cheaper at that 300 Australian dollars. The next one I've actually seen quite a few times, and it just keeps drawing me back to it. I seem to like this style too. This is from Octopus Kraken. It's the OCT011200 Australian dollars. Lots of different dial variations or colors anyway. There's the red, which I think is probably the one I would choose, blue, grey, green, and there's also a lighter blue. As I said, I quite like that red. I like a bit of color as well, especially when you've got a bigger collection. It's nice to have some different watches in the collection, different styles, different colors, and the red does look cool. And this one is powered by the Seiko NH35 movement, which is a great movement. I'm always happy, especially at these lower price watches, or sort of more affordable watches, is my favorite movement to be in them. It's also covered by a sapphire crystal, has 100 meters of water resistance, and it's got a great set of dimensions, being a 40mm case by around about 48mm lug to lug, which is my favorite set of dimensions as well. Now, I'm not quite sure of the quality of the brown leather strap that it comes on, but I can say the hardware looks quite good. Next is the first of two Sand Mountains on the list. This one's the SN0129G, and it's a NH34 GMT automatic movement watch, which I do like a GMT, and I do like a silver dial. And these are three things now coming together: a Sand Mountain, silver dial, GMT, for 500 Australian dollars. So a little bit more expensive, but the quality of Sand Mountain is always good. The NH34 tends to cost a little bit more, and it may well be worth that price. And this one, a 39mm case as well, which is a lovely sort of case diameter, 100 meters of water resistance, 20mm lugs, and 13mm thick. And of course, this one's coming on a really nice Sand Mountain bracelet, and it has that new on-the-fly adjustment, which looks really good, and it's something that I'm really appreciating on any watches that I buy now that have that on-the-fly adjustment. It's something that I actually use. The next is the first of two Tandorios as well. So two Tandorios, two Sand Martins. This one, I can't seem to find a name for it, but what I can say that it is only 130 Australian dollars. And this is what Tandorio does for me. It does low price watches, but amazing quality watches. This one's, they're always very good. I've had hands on with a few of them. I do love the quality of them. This one does have a bit of a Seiko 5303 sort of style look with that sort of dial, but it's a little bit bigger. It's a 41mm case, powered by the Seiko NH35 as well, which I do love, as I've mentioned. 100 meters of water resistance, sapphire crystal, and you've got a couple of options with it. One with a bracelet, one on a nylon strap, but I think they're 22mm lug width. And this, I think, if you like that sort of Seiko style, but the Seiko is too expensive for you, or even the Homage, the one that I own, is a little bit too expensive for you, this might be your way of having a little bit of that styling, but still well made, but powered by a good movement, and do it at a really reasonable price. And speaking of Tandorio, I want to talk about another one that has really grabbed me. It's a little 37mm case diver from Tandorio, and it's only 100 Australian dollars. Again, powered by the Seiko NH35 sapphire crystal. This one has 200 meters of water resistance, and it has a bunch of different colors. There's a light blue, a darker blue, a green, a white, and there's real cool orange. And you can see there's a bit of texture on that dial and some little patterns on that dial. There's a couple of different bezel options as well, and you can also get it with and without a logo. Now 37 tends to be a little bit small for me, but this sort of smaller diver, I've seen a few of them now, and I think they look really cool and they're really nice. And for 100 Australian dollars, wow, I just think that's a bargain, and I know the quality of Tandorio, so I'm sure this one's going to be a really good little watch. Next watch is by SteelDive, and it is a bronze-looking dual crown internal rotating bezel diver. It is the SD1949S, and it's only costing 225 Australian dollars, and I think that is actually a really reasonable price. It's powered by the Seiko NH35. There's a few of those on this list today. 42mm case diameter, 12.5 millimeters wide. It is a 22mm lugs, and it has this really cool bronzy looking dial. I think it looks really cool with the bronze sort of indices and hands, because it's meant to have 300 meters of water resistance and sapphire crystal. And I do think that date window probably spoils the overall look a little bit, but I think at that sort of price, with this sort of look, with those sort of specifications, I think this could be fantastic. And I think you can get on a leather and a rubber, and I do think it looks particularly good on the leather. I think that sort of brown leather with bronze does match well. The last on the list is another San Martin. This is the SN0129G, and I think this may have been out for a while, this one. This one's 220 Australian dollars, and this is one of those military style sort of chrono quartz. And there's a lot of these watches that look a bit like this on Aliexpress at the moment, and they're all at reasonable prices. But I think possibly when we mix this sort of really good looking watch with the quality of San Martin, this might be a winner. I think that actually might want to sort of push me over the limit to actually buy this one versus a couple of the others, even though they do get lots of positivity. This one contains the VK61 Quartz chronograph movement. It's a 37mm case, 100 meters of water resistance, and a 46mm lug to lug. So that 3746 would fit very nice. Has an all bead blasted case, comes on a nylon strap, and I just think at this sort of price, this sort of quality that San Martin always puts into their watches, that I think it may well be worthwhile checking out and may stay on my wish list for a while. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about those watches. Let me know if you end up buying those watches. If you own them, let me know what they're like as well. And whilst you do that, maybe check out these videos next.